Hello, I'm Rooney, currently Group Training Manager at Nasser Bin Khaled in Doha, Qatar. NBK is a large holdings company with 1,100 employees. We have automotive subsidiaries like NBK Automobiles, which is the sole distributor of Mercedes-Benz vehicles in Qatar. Also Qatar Automobiles Company, sole distributor of Mitsubishi and Fuso. NBK & Sons Retail, sole distributors of Harley-Davidson and Michelin. We also have non-automotive subsidiaries in the fashion area, in real estate, in travel and tourism, in medical equipment, and of course I work for the holdings company in the HR department. I'd just like to give you a little snapshot of my major accomplishments over the last few years in the area of learning and development. I'll start off with my experience in South Africa. Arrived in South Africa in 1997, and I arrived at a very, very fortunate time because more and more black Africans were going into university where they needed to study through English to pursue their university degrees, and they simply didn't have the English language skills to be able to cope with language study being delivered through English, and therefore I wrote this book here. This is New Perceptions. It's an English language skills, communication skills and academic skills course book published by Pearson Education. It took me 6 months to write, including a month of research where I researched the language and communication skills needs in universities and technical colleges throughout South Africa, and then 5 months to actually write the book and then present it in various educational institutions around South Africa. So this is New Perceptions, one of my major accomplishments in South Africa. Then in 1998, my business partner and I, we opened up our own training company, our soft skills training company, called the Corporate Development Consultancy, where we were designing and delivering corporate training programs, supervisory skills, customer service, leadership, performance management and so forth to our corporate clients. These are just a couple of the training manuals here which I designed for our corporate clients. This is performance management for the Institute of Security Studies, an NGO in Pretoria, based in Pretoria. This is project proposal writing and progress report writing for another NGO, which is SASTA, the South African Agency for Science and Technology Advancement. So that's just a couple of manuals I just want to show you from my time running my own soft skills training company in South Africa, which I did for 12 years. In 2004, I then moved into the area of e-learning. So I put together a conduct a formal meeting, self-access learning guide, partnered with our another company in South Africa called Future Learning, and put together this conduct a formal meeting guide. It's a completely self-access book where the learners take it, work from home. They also have this DVD or CD-ROM, and they simply work through the CD and work through the self-access guide in order to get a qualification recognised by the South African Qualifications Authority on this particular skill, conducting a formal meeting. So that's really all I wanted to say about my experience in South Africa with my own training company, and now bring you to where I've been for the last 6 years, which, as I say earlier on, is Nasser Bin Khaled. When I came to the company, no soft skills training had been done at all in the 50 or so years that the company had been in operation. And so therefore, when I arrived at the company, I actually had to set up the training department entirely from scratch. One of the first things that I did was to put together an in-house training team, because I knew that it would be very, very important to keep training costs to an absolute minimum. So I simply got staff members who were specialised in their own fields within the company, interviewed them, selected those who I thought had the potential to be great trainers, put them on my 3-day Train the Trainer program. Here's the training manual for that. Once they'd completed the program, they then came back and did an assessment of competence, where they were required to design and train a 30-minute section of the course which they intended to train in the company. Video recorded by me, immediate feedback, and then if they were successful, they reached the minimum standards of competency, they then became certified trainers. But it didn't end there. Once, of course, they were certified trainers, they then had to get their own training manuals together, and that meant that I then had to move into coaching mode. So they would come to my office and they would show me what they'd done in terms of the training manuals, in terms of their PowerPoint presentations, and I would act as a coach to help them to see where they could improve and make it better. And then once that process was over and the program was up to a sufficient standard, only then would I allow them to go into the training room. So these are just some examples of some of the courses which my in-house training team designed under my supervision. So there's assertiveness and conflict resolution. Of course, a lot of programs we did in the area of MS Office applications. So there's a training manual one of my in-house training team did for PowerPoint 2013 Intermediate, Excel 2013 Advanced level, developing effective interpersonal communication skills. This is Prezi, a relatively new software package which far exceeds, by the way, the capabilities of PowerPoint. So that's just a sample there of some of the manuals that my training team got together. And here are additional courses which I designed again and trained in the company: business presentation skills, business writing for emails, supervisory skills for first and second level supervisors, then leading high performance teams for our departmental managers, and then of course fire prevention and health and safety training for our technicians, of course, in the workshops dealing with quite dangerous equipment and chemicals and toxins and this kind of thing. So those are just some of the courses that which myself and my in-house training team put together. But of course I was also involved in other projects while I was in the company. Just like to tell you a little bit about a customer service drive which I introduced in 2013 for NBK Automobiles, which, as I said earlier on, is Mercedes-Benz. So after going on a 3-day workshop and conference and learning what it meant to build customer quality into an organisation, really make it customer centric, I then met with the GM and with the departmental managers to find out the kind of needs that the frontline staff had, and then put together this customer service fundamentals training program here. I did that for Mercedes-Benz. I also did another one here, another intervention for, again, this was 100 Mercedes-Benz frontline staff here. This is again over 100 for Qatar Automobiles Company, as I said earlier, Mitsubishi and Fuso sold dealerships in Qatar. And I put together this program, customise it for their needs, and then train that myself to all of the staff. But it wasn't just designing and training a 2-day program, it was also about designing posters and putting those up in the buildings so that there's a constant reminder for the staff about what it means to deliver good customer service. Also let the customers coming into the showrooms and the service centres know what it means to really deliver great customer service. And I put together these as well. So this is for Mercedes-Benz, for example. This is a brochure or pamphlet, laminated. It's put on their desks. It has the 12 principles of outstanding customer service here, and each of the principles corresponds with a letter for Mercedes-Benz. So it's M-E-R-C-E-D-E-S and then down to Benz. So for example, the principle number 1 is Mercedes-Benz customers pay our salaries, and so we have to treasure them. And then if you look in the middle, the principles are then identified again in the middle, and then some further information as a reminder to the staff about what each principle actually means. And then on the reverse, then that would also face the customer service frontliner. So I put that together for Mercedes-Benz, times 100 copies. Similar one for Mitsubishi, but of course Mitsubishi only has 10 letters, so there's 10 principles there, but a similar concept again, and it goes on every single frontliner's desk, whether they're sales consultants, service advisors, parts consultants, meet and greet, anybody who's actually a frontline staff member. Tell you a little bit about something else which I put together for Nasser Bin Khaled, never been done before, and that was an onboarding program. Now, an onboarding program, of course, is a program designed for new hires. and it's meant to welcome them into the company way before they even actually start on their first day, and then integrate them into the company culture while they're in the organisation in those initial few days, weeks and months, and then speed them up to full productivity much quicker than without an onboarding program. The one that I put together was 60 days, took me a month to actually research the best practices for onboarding programs. Of course, I had to go through the whole process of designing a presentation, which is here, to the management teams to get their buy-in. Every single organisation that I've introduced it for bought into it immediately. And then the onboarding program is divided into 5 separate time periods with certain activities that the onboarding team, now in every single department in the organisation, there's a senior onboarding partner who's the departmental manager, there's a junior onboarding partner who is an admin person. So the senior onboarding partner takes care of the management parts of the onboarding program, and the junior onboarding partner takes care of the admin side. And so there's a checklist here of things that must be done. So this is even before the employee arrives in the company. This is on their first day. The third time frame is the remainder of week 1, then the remainder of the 30 days, and then the 30 to 60 day period. So put that together for MBK Automobiles, and it was launched on the 1st of November 2014. It was so successful that it was then implemented in Qatar Automobiles Company on the 1st of April of this year in 2016. So that's the onboarding program. Just another couple of initiatives that I've introduced as well. This is the training manual that I put together for coaching towards outstanding performance. So I implemented a coaching network in MBK, which meant that I trained multiple programs, which again, of course, I've designed and put together, multiple programs with the objective of putting a coach into every single department throughout the whole of the company. So that therefore, when we have coaches well trained in each department, they're able to set goals for employees, they're able to deal with any underperforming employees. If there's a new process that needs, or a new product that needs to be trained, they don't need to come to me, they can actually coach that to small groups of staff themselves. And just the last thing, which is something that I introduced this year, and that is a counselling network. Of course, employees often have personal issues that they have to deal with, often some quite traumatic events that they might have to deal with in their personal life, and they simply cannot perform well in the job when they're suffering great personal trauma. It might be a death in the family, it might be going through a personal issue like a divorce, grave illness, financial problems, and they need to be able to talk to a trained counsellor in the organisation. So this is the one that I put together. This is just me. I'm also a counsellor for the HR department. So do you need to talk? I'm Lance, and I'm here to listen, and I'm here to help. And so that was an initiative which I started in 2016. So that's all really I wanted to say. I'm very, very competent at what I do. I'm passionate about what I do. I'm extremely well organised. The last thing here you can see behind you is the training calendar for March to June, based upon an extensive training needs analysis. And that means looking at the performance review forms of individual employees, having meetings with the GMs and the departmental heads, questionnaires, focus groups and these kind of things to really establish what the training needs are, and then setting the training calendars here on the March to June period, and then the September to December period. So we have 8 months of full-on training taking place at MBK. Other courses run in January and February and July and August, but the real intensive training where you can see here that very few white spaces. Every single course is colour coordinated, so that it's very, very clear which courses are running on which dates. So that's all I wanted to say about me. I hope you've enjoyed my video presentation about my experience over the last few years, and I very much hope to hear from you. So thanks for listening.